What's going on, guys? Francis here, Asia Mountain Exalted Vigor Athletics, and today we're doing back to basics with deadlifts. So in this video, we're going to talk about proper placement of deadlifts, so how to set yourself up to properly execute a deadlift. Additionally, we'll go on into progressing to a barbell deadlift, from PVC to kettlebell to a barbell with plates. Afterwards, we'll talk about some bonus content on when to use chalk, how to use and purchase accessories that will help you with your grip strength, and I hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start off talking about deadlift positioning. So I'm going to start off with my feet hip width apart, so hips right here. A lot of people end up doing shoulders, but hips. We're not going to do sumo deadlift today. Knees, so your knees are going to go directly in line with your toes. So since my toes are parallel, they're going straight forward. So I'm going forward. Hips, so I want my hips to be beneath my lower back. So when I'm deadlifting, my back is not flat with the ground. My hips are a bit lower than that, and that way I feel a stretch right here in the glutes, and right here in the hamstrings.
So as far as torso positioning is concerned, we really want to keep as flat of the lower back as possible throughout the entire movement. There can be some slight rounding in the upper back, but we really want to keep that neutral as well. That's more of an advanced technique. Head placement is also a big concern. A lot of people tend to jerk their head backwards and look up at the ceiling as they pull. And so what we really want to do is probably kind of look diagonally in front of you at the beginning of the pull and let your head naturally move as you pull upward, and you'll be looking straight ahead when you lock it out. So as far as breathing is concerned, we advocate that you should inhale before your first pull, and then as you are in the act of lifting the bar upward, you're exhaling that breath. And then again, when you come back down, you're taking another breath in before your next pull.
So the first deadlift progression that we're going to talk about is going to be with the PVC pipe. This way we don't have to load the movement, but we can just get comfortable with actually going through the movement. So unlike the regular barbell, the deadlift PVC pipe is going to start where you're at your hips. So Francis starts with the PVC pipe at his hips. His hands are going to be outside of his knees, just a bit wider than shoulder width apart, whatever is comfortable. From here he's going to set up through the regular deadlift, so everything about placement, like we were talking about earlier, is exactly the same. From here he's going to lead the movement, just push his butt back, and then let that bar shave his thighs on the way down, and then go to the PVC pipe is about mid-shin. That way he's comfortable, he feels that stretch in his glute, his hamstrings, and then from here he exhales and stands back up, and that is a deadlift with the PVC pipe. So now we're going to go ahead and upgrade and progress to a kettlebell deadlift. So the kettlebell deadlift will add a bit of load to it, but the nice thing about a kettlebell is since the handle is a bit elevated from the ground, you don't have to pull so far down like you would if you're using really small plates and a barbell. So placement here is you want the kettlebell to be kind of in line with your shoes where your shoes are tied. I'm horrible, my shoes aren't tied, but that's okay. So right in line with where your shoes are tied, that way the weight and the center of gravity is going to be right in line with your midfoot. So same exact movement we were talking about, so hip width apart, everything is the same. The only difference is that the kettlebell starts from the ground. So you lead butt back and then you reach down, feel that stretch. So go ahead, Francis. And then from here he's going to grab the kettlebell. Same thing, stand up tall, exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down. Kettlebell deadlift. Now you can see from the front, because angles. Beautiful.
Okay, so finally we are at the barbell deadlift. So, the main difference here is we are able to add substantially more weight than with the kettlebell. And again, what we want to stress is keeping the bar over your center of gravity. So that means keeping the bar, for most people, over your shoelaces. That'll keep it in line with your midfoot. And you should have a bit of room in between your shin and the bar, such that your knees can come forward slightly. Once you initiate the pull, your hands are again going to be about shoulder width, and you are going to want to quote-unquote shave your thighs with the bar. So you're going to want to keep the bar as close to your body as possible. That's going to allow you to, again, keep the bar within your center of gravity, and it's going to allow you to pull the most weight effectively and avoid stressing your lower back unnecessarily. So again, what Jermaine's doing here is he's pushing his hips backwards to engage the movement. A lot of people tend to bend forward with their lower back, and you really want to get that proper hip hinge patterning in order to engage the right muscles here. And again, take some of the stress off of the lower back. So his back is completely flat, and his shoulders and his upper back are about neutral. He grabs and initiates the pull. He breathes in on the way down and exhales on the way up. And that's the barbell deadlift. Alright, so next we're going to go over some special topics as far as your grip strength is concerned with deadlifting. For those of you who are intermediates at deadlifting, chalk is a useful tool, especially for those of you who decide you might want to do a powerlifting meet. Chalk will usually be available, I believe, at most powerlifting meets. So you probably would want to get used to using it. Again, this is a tool that is going to eliminate some of the slip that might occur with your hands, whether or not your grip is giving out because you're doing multiple sets, high volume deadlift, or you're just sweating in general and you just can't seem to get a hold of the bar. Chalk is going to be a useful tool here.
Chalk is your friend. And now we're going to talk about some accessories that you can purchase that also help with your deadlift. Again, if you are an intermediate advanced lifter and you need some extra help with your grip, this is really useful. So I'll talk about this in the link below. I'll give some links for these products as well. But the first one is going to be lifting straps. So lifting straps will distribute some of the weight across your wrist and then roll against the bar, and you'll just hold the barbell without actually having to grip it as much. It's really nice because if you're really tired, fatigued, like Francis was saying, it helps your forearm grip. And then secondly is the upgrade to that, and the product that I recommend more for people that are really serious about using this is Versa Grips. So Versa Grips aren't quite as obtrusive and invasive on your wrists because they distribute the weight more across your palm. But because they pull from the opposite direction of where your hand is, it helps distribute that weight even more so. But you don't have to keep rolling your hands into the barbell to just lift it.
So one thing that's important to note here is as far as chalk, Versa Grips, and straps are concerned, you really don't want to be using these things from day one as a beginner. You really want to develop your grip strength with deadlifts, rows, and lat pull downs or pull-ups as a beginner. And once you get to that intermediate stage, you may want to consider using these.
So when you first start deadlifting, most gyms won't have bumper plates, which means they won't have plates that are all the same size, like the 45-pound plates. Which means if you're deadlifting anything below 135 pounds, which might be a lot for some people, you'll have to pick the bar up from a lower position. A good way to get around this is to start with the barbell on a box or something a bit elevated, so putting it on plates as well. That way you pull from a position that puts the barbell right in your mid-shin. If your gym actually does have barbells with bumper plates, that's great, but this is more for the people that don't have the luxury of bumper plates.
Okay, so just to kind of summarize the topics that we touched on in the video, as far as the deadlift is concerned, you're probably, if you're a just complete beginner, you may want to start out with a PVC pipe and really get that patterning down. And then if you find yourself not being able to lift 135 pounds like Jermaine just mentioned, you may want to consider starting with a kettlebell because you will be able to get about the same mid-shin start or starting point, and then eventually progress to the barbell if you don't have bumper plates available. For those of you with bumper plates available, you're good to go. And then next, we did touch a lot on positioning. So positioning is extremely important. We want to place that barbell around the midfoot so that it stays with your center of gravity. We want to keep those feet about hip width apart, and if your toes are pointed straight forward or if your toes are slightly pointed outward, we want your knees so you follow your toes when you bend down to pick up the bar. Next, as far as torso is concerned, we talked about having a flat back, keeping your upper back at least neutral, and keeping your head in line with your spine. So for a lot of us, that's going to be looking diagonally downward from the start and looking straight forward when you lock out.
So last thing we talked about was some accessories and some chalk. So chalk is great when you're struggling with some grip strength, your hands are really sweaty and clammy all the time, and you really need to work on how am I going to be able to lift this without letting that barbell slip. Chalk, really great, helps you because it dries out your hands and it allows you to pull weight. Lifting straps, really great because it adds a bit of accessory help because it's distributing the weight throughout the lifting straps. And then Versa grips, which are a bit more of an investment, are similar to lifting straps, but aren't as invasive and intrusive on your wrists. So I want to thank you guys for watching today's Back to Basics deadlifting video. If you look down in the description below, you'll see links to all the products that we were talking about, like the lifting straps and Versa grips, as well as a link to the blog post that we have, which will have a link and download descriptions on how you can get our free six-pack abs guide. If you guys go ahead and subscribe as well, that'd be great. Give us a thumbs up. Have a good day.